And it seems to be. So welcome to our Franchise Hockey Manager 10 stream. My name is Jeff Riddles. I'm the producer of Franchise Hockey Manager. I would normally be here with Adam, our community manager, but he's a bit under the weather at the moment. Although I see he's in chat, which he probably shouldn't be. Relax, Adam. But for that reason, I can only really watch one chat once. So we are streaming on both of our Twitch channels, as well as on Steam. So if you want to ask something, you are probably best off going to the OTP Developments Twitch channel, as that's the one I'm going to be keeping an eye on. And what we're doing here is, what we had originally set out to do was replay the entirety of Montreal Canadiens history, starting in 1909. We are definitely not going to make that. We're only up to 1927 so far, so that's from I think we started this in December. So we're not going to get quite there. I'm hoping we can maybe, if we're lucky, get to the end of World War II or so, but it has been interesting. We've had a pretty successful run. We particularly recently had won the cup 4 times in a row, and then wound up getting knocked off in our attempt for a 5th by the New York Americans, who, appropriately enough, were the first American team to win the cup in this game. So I have gotten us around to the start of the 27-28 season. This year it's the second lowest scoring season in NHL history, which was the only season that was worse is the 28-29, which will be next year. So we're probably not going to see a whole lot of scoring this year. It is, however, a fairly successful time for the NHL. They've expanded up to 10 teams. They're relatively stable at the moment. That, unfortunately, is going to come all crashing down on I guess October 1929, when the stock market crashes and the Great Depression officially kicks off. And by the time we get up into the war years, the league will have shrunk considerably, and then eventually just settling at the 6 teams that we know as the original 6, even though they're not actually the original 6 teams in the league. We are in the Canadian division, which is a little kind of talent heavy compared to the American ones. Most of the American teams have only been around 2 or 3 years. Detroit and Chicago, when they came into the league last year, bought out teams from the Western League, which had just gone out of business. So they've got decent rosters. The Rangers are in their second year. I'm not sure how successful they're going to be. In real life, they managed to sign a whole bunch of free agents out of the West. They weren't in this game quite as lucky. They've got a few players, and they managed to pick up Charlie Conacher, who will be the cornerstone of that team for quite a few years to come. But the rest of the team is a little shaky. One of the things I did do, we've been carrying 2 really good goaltenders for quite a while, and we only really need one. Roy Waters and Laurent Chabot, I think both are Hall of Famers. So I've been looking for an opportunity to trade Chabot with a backup away. And finally came this year. Our defenseman was thinning out pretty badly. Sprague Cleghorn, who's been with us from nearly the beginning. I think we drafted him in our 2nd season, if I remember right. Yeah, 19. Oh no, that would have been 3rd season. So he's been with us since 1911. We're up 1927. He is down to 1 star, even though he still seemed to be producing as recently as last year. But that 1 star thing probably signifies that he's nearly done. Bert Corbeau, one of our defensemen, is 33 and is also declining. So what I did was trade Chabot to Pittsburgh, a couple of throw-ins for Albert Battleship Leduc, who was a Canadian in real life, starting in, I think the same starting year as he was in this game. 25-26. Oh no, he had a little bit of a career with Ottawa first, looks like, before winding up on Pittsburgh's roster. So we got Leduc back. Wasn't a huge return. He's only a 3-star guy, but Chabot was at 3.5 stars. So I think that's about the best deal I was going to get from him, and still stick to the house rule we're playing by, which is we're trying to only take players who are either French Canadian, born in Quebec, or played for the Canadiens in real life. So Leduc qualifies on all three counts. I think he was born in Quebec, so definitely eligible to play with us. So we've got shored up the defense a little bit. In this era, they only played one goalie all year, so it doesn't really matter that we've got Rayom, the backup, as a one-star guy. Not a big deal. Waters still has a number of good years ahead of him. Lines-wise, I'm going to try something slightly different from what we've done in previous years, which was have Duke Keats as the second line center. I'm going to put him on the first line right wing and bump up. The second line is going to be a little younger than it's been in previous years, so we do need to change something after losing the playoffs, so we'll see how that works out. Other than that, that was the only trade I made. I think the only significant roster move we made since since signing off last week. We're on opening night, started off against the Leafs, who are the Leafs now. No more Toronto St. Patrick's. This is their, no jersey number on somebody. This is their first season as the, Couture I called up, that's right. This is their first season as the Maple Leafs, so let's kick that off with a loss to us, hopefully. And yeah, 4-1 win against the new Maple Leafs. And the coach is not, or the media is not happy with Boucher. Let's see, Billy Boucher he's down to 2 stars. I think I'll go with the criticism. I've been not trying to keep the media up. Wow, I've got the GM media relationship all the way up to good. That's incredible for the Montreal media. I've never seen it that high before. Usually I just accept some level of criticism, but they're happy with me, even if it means annoying Boucher, who's also injured, so I'm going to swap him out for Frank Finnegan right now. And you can see a bunch of contracts being signed. That's just stuff I set up off stream, re-signing all of our expiring free agents for next year. And now we're playing the other Montreal team, the Maroons. Should be able to beat them. Yep, 5-0 win. Off to a good start. Boucher is almost back yet, but not quite. And we've got Pittsburgh, our first game against our old goalie, Lauren Chabot. And 3-0 win for us. Roy Waters, second shutout in a row. And this is definitely going to be a very low-scoring year. Teams were averaging, games averaged fewer than 4 goals a game, so the average team was averaging less than 2. And they're making us an offer for Finnegan, who I've got in the trading block. Bert McInally, don't recognize the name. Kind of a journeyman, doesn't. Oh, he's from Quebec City. Not usually. He's only 1.5 star potential. I'm not going to do it. Well, actually, I'm not going to do it just for that, but if I can get let's say a second round pick out of the Bruins, will they want to do that? Try that. They'll get back to us in a couple of days. And 4-2 win over Detroit as we continue rolling on. And nope, the Bruins don't want to do that, so forget it. And Boucher is healthy again, so Finnegan is going to come back in. Or go out as Boucher goes in. Doesn't look like anybody else is moving around much. The star ratings, team harmony, any problems there? Yep, everything's good. So play Chicago next. And another shutout, 4-0. Off to a 5-0 start for the season. Looking pretty good. And the owner is happy with us and expecting us to win this year. We really want to get that cup back. Oh wow, Boucher's down to 2 stars. I'll put him on the trading block as well. And put Finnegan back in the lineup. I don't want to annoy Boucher too much because his brother is the captain of the team. And their other brother, Frank, is one of the guys that beat us on the Americans last year. In real life, he would be a New York Ranger, but in this game, he wound up starting out with Hamilton, the former Hamilton team, which moved to New York and became the Americans. And looks like they got a few injuries to start the season. Clint Benedict, their starting goalie that they won the cup with last year, is out for 2 or 3 months with a fractured vertebrae, and that, with the short schedules, this is only a 44-game schedule. A couple of months is a significant amount of time. So we've got the Leafs again, and just squeezed out a 1-0 win. And Pitt Lepin, our starting center, just a minor injury, so I think he'll starting second line center rather. Gonna leave him in. And we finally lose one, 4-2 to the Bruins. Despite putting up 63 shots, so Alec Connell, who's another one of our former goalies, put up a great game and wound up beating us. And oh wow, the Americans aren't really missing their goalie apparently. 7-0 start to start the season. And we've got them right now, so let's see if we can end that undefeated streak. And we can, 5-2 win. And Lepin, was hurt, first star with 4 points. And he's almost back. Keeping an eye on the defenseman. I'm going to swap Corbeau out for Cleghorn for a couple of games, just to sort of spread the workload around against those two old guys we've got at the bottom end of the D. And playing the other New York team now, 3-1 win over the Rangers. And Detroit up next, and Cleghorn's health is holding. Fitness is still at 100%, so that's good. And yet another shutout. Expect to see a lot of those this season. The Canadiens goalie in real life this year was George Hainsworth, who finished with, I think it was a 1.02 goals against average, and then went even lower than that the following season. So Cleghorn gets a couple of games, but we'll throw Corbeau back in. Back against the Maroons, who have a pretty thin lineup. 5-0 win, no trouble beating them, and a 4-goal game out of Howie Moran's. And just taking a quick look at the standings. So I had 3 guys in the top 10 goals, or top 8 goal scorers, but nobody in the top 8 points. And Detroit seems to have carved out a little lead at the top of the American division, and we're 2 points up on the Americans, but 1 game in hand for them. And this time around we beat Alec Connell, and Moran's gets a couple more goals. And yet another shutout, 4-0 against Chicago this time. And Couture, our extra winger, apparently hurt himself in practice, but not a big deal. Swapping Cleghorn and Corbeau around on defense, because we've got Pittsburgh tonight, and it should be a relatively easy game, even with their new goal. Okay, maybe it wasn't easy. 3-1 win for Laurent Chabot against his old team. And on top of that, we managed to injure Duke Keats. No, that's not good. Strained shoulder, 1 to 2 months. So, Billy Boucher gets back into the lineup. And Couture is the extra guy there. And, well, okay. Well, Finnegan dropped down to 1.5 stars now. He must have had he's had a really bad start. Okay, gonna have to rejuggle the lines then, because losing Keats is going to hurt us for the rest of the season. Finnegan plays center. Why is it play center a little bit, I guess. No, try him on the wing. And no, I'm not delaying treatment for Keats because I'm semi-hopeful we'll get him back in time for the playoffs. And he's going to be pretty terrible if I let him play with that injury for the whole year. And I think it's their first game against Ottawa. 2-1 win, who was better than probably the best team in the NHA years, but they're gradually declining and getting older. Media is happy with Royal Joliet, and I will agree with them. And okay, Keith's the only guy injured at this point. And we got the Rangers, should be another relatively easy win. Yep, 5-0 win. Howie Moran's once again, first star. And our new defenseman, Battleship Leduc, is the player of the month, and our goalie, Roy Waters, the goalie of the month. So 2 wins for us there. Well, Keats is only down to 2 to 3 weeks, so apparently the initial estimate on his injury was a little excessive. So very good news for us, and I'm glad I didn't delay treatment on that injury. Owner's happy. We got back-to-back games against Chicago, so for the play that first game. And ooh, 6-1 win for the Hawks. That is not impressive. They're not the worst team in the league, but they're definitely not a great team. And the Wings. Small case facial cut on Pete Belfoy, so he's going to swap out for the rookie, Couture. And since it's back-to-back, I will put in Clegorn for a game instead of Corbeau. So can we recover against Detroit? Yes, we can. Another shutout, another hat trick from Moran's. And just go with the same lineup against the Americans on a little bit of a U.S. road trip right now. And 2-0 loss, and Clint Benedict is back for the defending Cup champions. Maybe a little earlier than expected. And we got a trade proposal from the Pirates. Jack McVicker, 1 star for Boucher. No, that's not even close. No, thank you. And, okay, I'm going to have to leave Clegorn out of the lineup for good. I think he's slipped all the way down to half a star. So this will be his last lineup, or his last season in our lineup. He's the one guy in the starting lineup that didn't run. No, I must have missed Waters. That could have been bad. Let's fix that right now and renew his contract for next year. And he signs it. Good. And 3-1 loss to Ottawa. Starting to struggle a little bit here, and we are down 3 points down on the Americans. We're not quite to the halfway point of the season, but we'll be after these 2 games against Toronto, and I think it was Detroit up next, and now we lose to Toronto. And we got another trade offer from the Hawks. Howard Armstrong for... No, not doing that. And Leafs, it's a little better. Clarence McKenzie, who's only 18. American, played for the Hawks for 1 year in real life, but doesn't really fit our house rule for the guys we can take, so I'm not going to pursue that any further. Who's this one? I'm going to have to, okay, just barely got out of that 2-1 win over the Bruins. And another offer for Boucher, a young defenseman, Herman Murray. Don't recognize the name, Albertan, and no history on him, so didn't play in the NHL in real life, so I'm going to have to let that go. I had Couture in for Belfoy. Forgot to fix that. But Finnegan's bruised hip day today, so I'll put Couture back in for him, and then we'll get the lineup back to normal after that. Should be able to win against the Maroons. Whoa, George Hainsworth's in Montreal with the Maroons all of a sudden. I know Toronto picked up another goalie. We get a 4-1 win against him, but how did that happen? They needed a goalie, and oh, Toronto actually waived him. I guess they thought he was getting old. Oh, and that's right. They had picked up Tiny Thompson from Ottawa at the end of last season, and also have Charlie Gardner, another great goalie, waiting in the wings too. So they didn't need Hainsworth. So they waived him, and the Maroons got him for nothing. So now the other team in Montreal is suddenly a bit tougher. That's not, they're better teams in the league, but they're starting to show some real depth there. And the way the playoffs work this year, the top three teams in each division make the playoffs. Two plays against three, and the winner of that plays the first place team. Then the two divisional winners meet. So we're comfortably in the playoffs here. And surprisingly, Pittsburgh, who made the finals last year and wound up losing to the Americans, I think they got there in an upset, is still doing relatively well. Well, I mean, we traded them Chabot, but the lineup was pretty thin after that, and I thought losing Leduc out of their defense would slow them down a bit, but apparently no. They do have Dick Clapper and Lionel Hitchman, both Hall of Famers. Hitchman has his number retired by the Bruins, and as does Clapper, so they've got half of the Bruins D from the 20s in there. So that explains it a little bit. And oh yeah, right, I was going to mention this. Pete Muldoon is coaching them. This is a picture of Muldoon. This is taken about a year before he died, 1928, when he was putting a new Seattle team together in, not sure which league it would have been, whatever moved into the, after the WHL, or the major league version of the WHL closed down. But what had happened was he was fired after the first Hawks season. He was coaching them, wound up getting fired, and then moved back to Seattle, where he'd been for a number of years. And this game doesn't really work out that way. He's been the Pirates coach for, I think, at least a couple of seasons now. And as I said, in real life, he would be only have about a year or so to live at this point. The story, though, is that when he was fired from the Blackhawks, allegedly he said that he was going to curse the team. The reason given for his firing was that he hadn't finished in first place. And he said, okay, well, you're going to fire me for that. I'm going to curse you. You're never going to finish in first place in your division. Funnily enough, that actually wound up being true for about 40 years or so. I think they finally won. They finally finished in first in 66, 67. They had Bobby Hall and Stan Mikita, so held up for about 40 years. The truth of it is, though, it wasn't. He never actually said that. There was no curse. That was something Jim Coleman, the Toronto writer, needed to meet a deadline. So he came up with that about 15 years after the alleged events of the curse, and finally confessed to it about 25 years after that. But so there wasn't really a curse, even though somehow wound up keeping the Hawks out of first place for a better part of 4 decades. Yeah, oh, okay. Well, great. Now Finnegan is 1.5 stars, and Couture is playing well. So I guess I'm going to leave it like that. And Keats will be back soon, so that will change things around there. About halfway through the season, and we get shut out by Chicago. John Ross Roach, 52 saves for them. And Corbeau is injured sore Achilles tendon day to day, so the very elderly Sprague Gleghorn gets to play a little bit more. And we're almost up to the trade deadline, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to do that much. And there we go. Duke Keats is back in the lineup. So the guy I want to sit is probably going to be Billy Boucher, who hasn't really done anything with his playing time. And reshuffle the lines. Okay, I had Keats on that first line before. Yeah. Going to do that. Going to lock it in place, and then have the AI redo the lines. Yeah, that's how they come out. That I think works a little bit better. Power play seems fine. See how we do in this first game against Ottawa. And 2-0 shutout. Old man Sprague Cleghorn. He's down to half a star and he somehow keeps scoring. 2 goals and he's the first star. And we got a couple of trade proposals. Art Giroux from the Rangers, and don't think he's from Quebec, but Giroux is French enough, even if he's from, he actually played for the Canadiens too, so would qualify under our house rule, but problem is he's only 1 star. That's not great. What's the other one? Al Raj, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that for Cleghorn because, he's back up to 1 star. So we'll reject that one. I'm going to reject that one as well. Let's have a very quick look at the transactions page and see if anybody interesting is on the trading block. Maroon's trying to move Danny Cox, who, no, can't go for him. Also trying to move Hainsworth. And get him on waivers and try to move him immediately. Jimmy Herbert's from the Bruins. Is there, what would I be looking to add? Maybe a 4th defenseman, but I don't really see any interesting defenseman on here. Earl Campbell, obviously not the football player. Buckingham, Quebec, so he's could take him, but he's out for a couple of weeks. Let's see if the Bruins are willing to take one of our, the Bruins, the Cougars rather, not the Red Wings yet either. They would take Finnegan and Corbeau's down to 1 star, so I'm gonna take our one of our old defensemen, decent young forward for Campbell. They don't like it. What if I throw in a draft pick, 2nd rounder? Let's try. Have to increase the offer a little. Is there anybody we've got? Adding the rights to Percy Allen. They're probably not going to do it. No, they keep saying increase the offer a little. Problem is that's about all I'm willing to give them, so I'm going to leave it as it is. Won't be making a trade at the deadline. Hopefully we don't get hurt by injuries down the stretch, particularly to the D. And 3-0 win over Pittsburgh, so decent start to the post-trading deadline. And wow, nice development report. A lot of the younger guys. So Ross Blinko is up to 1 star. That's good. Probably bring him up for next season. And yeah, the usual. See, Finnegan's only 24 and he's declining for some reason. But Pan also losing. Guys did tend to go downhill a little at a younger age in this era, but even so, it's a little concerning that our guys in their mid-20s are starting to slip. And Corbeau is healthy. Yes, he is, but he's at 80%, and Cleghorn's at 100, so we will leave it there. See if we can split the season series with the Americans so far, 1-1, and we got shut down pretty hard there. 5-1 win for the Americans. So I think we're going to have trouble getting by them in the playoffs if it comes to that. Okay. Corbeau is healthy now, so he can go back in for Cleghorn. And we got the Maroons, who didn't move George Hainsworth at the deadline. And we come away with a 3-0 shutout. Oh no. Oh boy, that's not good. Tell me this is minor. Fingers crossed. Could have been worse. 2 to 3 weeks calf strain for our best player. So Finnegan is going to have to go in for him, and I will just, no, I'm not going to delay treatment on something that short. Because we still have, 16 games left in the regular season. So we will try to struggle along without Morenz for a few weeks, and we lose 4-3 to the Americans. They are there. Must be quite a bit ahead of us by now. Yeah, 7 points up with 15 games to go. That's not looking good. We may be having to play in the first round here. Oops. I didn't mean to go with those lines, but we'll do it anyhow. 1-1 tie against the Bruins. No shootouts in this era, so if you finish at the end of, still tied at the end of overtime, it's a tie. Oh, it's the, didn't even realize the Olympics was an Olympic year. And that's no Canadian team in the Olympics this year. So we'll see who comes out of that. Or is this yeah, that might be one of the years where they just gave Canada a bye to the medal round. So there may yet be a Canadian team. And we lose 2-1 in overtime to the Leafs. Not good. Swap Corbeau back out for Cleghorn. And try Boucher in one more time. About the last chance he's going to get. And we lose 1-0 to Ottawa. Really hurting without Morenz to do the scoring. And they're the... I have to check it out. 1928 Olympics. I thought Canada played in that. But, there, yeah, they did. And, oh, okay, yeah. Wait, what did I... for some reason it's saying Poland won the tournament, but Canada is 3-0 in the medal round. Did they? Yeah, they beat. So that's, yeah, Canada's actually won the tournament. That news story is buggy for some reason. So Canada does win the tournament, and it'll be, the Canadian team will be basically made up of various free agents. Frank Carson, Albert Hughes, yeah, guys with 1 or 2 games NHL experience and technically playing as amateurs, and that's still good enough to defeat the European teams at this point. So second gold medal in a row for Canada. Howie Morenz is down to day out, so we may get him back against this game, after this game against Montreal, and we are against the Americans. And there we go. Billy Boucher finally got going. 4-1 win over the Americans. And Morenz may be ready. Day. I'm going to give it one more. Well, wait. How close are we here? Oh, God. No, we're at 11 points back to the Americans. We're not going to catch them, so I'm just going to go with give Morenz one more day off. Don't want to risk him getting hurt by playing with an injury. And we come up with a win anyhow against the Leafs. Oh, and he's still not ready against Ottawa. Okay, well, he gets 2 games off then. And we win anyhow, 4-1 over the Senators. And now he's finally ready to go. So Boucher did okay there. He had that one good game. Couture hasn't really done anything since I let him play full time, and Cleghorn can go back out for Corbeau. Oh, no. And I think that's pretty much all I had lines before Morenz got hurt. Another development report. Oh, Morenz actually continuing to improve. Boucher going downhill low. Oh, and Leduc, our new defenseman already. Come on. Owner is satisfied. How is our job security? Job security, wow, the GM-media relationship is up to very good. And fans are completely happy, so it hasn't been a perfect season, but team harmony is great too. Everything off the ice is going great. Another game against the Maroons at Hainsworth, and 2-2 tie. Moran's gets a couple of points in his first game back, and Bert Cobo is hurt now. Calf strain 2 to 3 weeks, so Sprout Cleghorn will get some regular playing time. He has had 4 points this year. Probably going to retire in the off season. No, not delaying treatment for Corbeau. And narrow overtime win against our old goalie Chabot in Pittsburgh. Oh, great. And now Keatson looks like, yeah, oh boy. Strained Achilles tendon, 2 to 3 weeks. No, we're not quite close enough to the playoffs, so we don't have to leave him out. And Finnegan goes in for that. And Johnny Gagnon is just day to day, so we will put Couture in for him for this next game. And Corbeau is back skating already. That's good news. 3-0 shutout over the Rangers, who I'm guessing are probably, last place in the division and the league. And we're, I think, mathematically eliminated now, or at least 1 point away from it. 10 points behind the Americans. They've got 4 left. We've got 6 left. So yeah, I guess we technically could catch them. But the second they get 1 point, oh no, they had 2 points. I think it'll be over for us. So not looking likely that we're going to catch him. Gagnon is almost back. No, he's healthy. So he was swapped for Couture, and Finnegan has done absolutely nothing, so we'll leave Couture in. Oh, now Johnny Shepard's hurt. Okay, Finnegan, you get to go into Shepard's spot for 1 game. Try to do something with it. And 2-1 loss to the Maroons. That's a little embarrassing. And that's definitely it for our first place hopes this season. Corbeau's still out. Keats is 1 to 2 weeks. No, Gagnon, day to day with an animal bite. Got to clean the rats out of the dressing room. And wow, 3-1 loss to the Rangers. That's not good. And even worse, we've got more injuries. Sprout Cleghorn apparently got hit in the eye, and okay, I'm gonna have to call up Buswell from the minors and replace Cleghorn with him. Cleghorn is actually gonna have to go on the injured list for a little while. He'll be out longer than Corbeau will. Gagnon is out with a scratched cornea. Shepard is healthy enough to come back at least, so Gagnon gets replaced by Finnegan. We're getting a lot of injuries here at the end of the year. Anybody on the minor league, I'll look at it this way. Province is our minor league team this year. A couple of 1.5 star guys that nobody, that is an obvious call up. Okay, just get through these last few teams. No, I'm not going to delay treatment. We'll get through these last few games without getting hurt. Buswell wants a number, you can have 5. Okay, let's get a win here against Detroit. 5-4 loss. Are we in trouble of, how far down are we? Okay, we're still 7 points up on Ottawa, so we're not moving either way in the standings, and we're still number 2 overall, so we'll have home ice against the American team if we can knock off New York. Okay, I guess that's not technically an injury, but Rosie Couture just got himself suspended for a game. And, oh boy, Gonna have to put Keats on the injury list. That shouldn't matter because he won't be healthy before he's ready to come back, and call up one of those Langlois or Lamb. Looks like Lamb's having a much better season, so he will get one game with us. And I'm just using the AI line set up on this screen since it doesn't alter the permanent lines. And I'll just let it set up for this one game, which is inevitably going to be a loss to New York. I probably shouldn't have even put Warders in goal. Yeah, came out with a 2-1 win. Doesn't really matter, but at least we know we can beat them. And Couture's suspension was for 4 games, so that kind of hurts. Still pretty banged up. Nothing game against the Leafs at the end of the year, so I'm going to throw the backup in just to avoid Warders getting hurt. And Herb Rayom gets a shutout, 6-0 win over the Leafs. Oh, we got 2 games left, so. Oh, and Corbeau is almost back as well. That is very good news. So we'll just go with the backup again in this game against Ottawa. He gets 2 games instead of 1. And we lose 3-2 to Ottawa. They're going to be playing them in the playoffs. And 10 points back to the Americans in the division. Not a fantastic season. I think that's pretty close to the record the real Canadiens finished with. And this in 27-28. Playing Ottawa in the playoffs, and it'll be Pittsburgh and Chicago for the right to play against Detroit. So you can see those 2 teams have bought out Western Hockey League teams and moved their whole roster. That's obviously been a huge benefit to them because they're Chicago and Detroit are tending to be near the top of the division. No, it looks like those points we handed the Rangers helped them. They turned around and the Bruins wound up in last place in the league. And they've got goalie, couple of forwards, Red Dutton, and not much else. And Leafs in their first season finished dead last. Great goaltending, and Nell Stewart, who we traded, they had Moran's, and we swapped, I think, Stewart and a little bit more to get Moran's from them. And he's had a pretty good season, finally healthy for them. Take a very quick look at our scoring this year. Moran's he would have been higher in the league scoring if he hadn't missed those 7 games. Decent season from Joliet. Gagnon coming along nicely as well. Our second line scoring is kind of lacking. Even though Lepin finally was full-time second line center for the whole season, scoring actually went down. Bit of a disappointment. Oh, and that's a terrible year for Keats. I mean, the injuries had a lot to do with it, but 11 points out of your 3.5-star guy. Not good. Okay, Cleghorn is ready to come back. Corbeau Buswell is going to go out for Corbeau and then back down to the minors. Looks like he got a goal for us during his call up. And Cleghorn is ready to come off the injured list. As is Keats, although he's still got the injury. Oh, we're not at the start of the playoffs yet. Let's get there. Let's send Lamb back down. How did he do first? Oops. 2 points in 3 games. Not a bad start. Maybe he's got a shot with us next year. And Keith's still day-to-day. Not quite to the first game of the series. Decent development report, but again, some of the concerning guys still going down, and 2 old defensemen, Cleghorn and Corbeau, also declined a little bit more. Okay, this is a 2-game total goals series, so I'm not letting Keith sit out a game. Gonna have to be Frank Finnegan. put Keats on the first line. Keep him on the lower lines, maybe get a little power play time just until he's back to 100%. First game against Ottawa. And 2-0 shutout. Good news. Puts us at a big advantage for game 2 of the series. And the Hawks win the first game, so Pittsburgh's in trouble. So Ottawa's got to win by 2 goals here, 2 goals to tie us, and forced into overtime, or 3 goals for the win. And they win 2-1, but that's not quite enough. So that 1 goal, we win the series on total goals, 3-2, and looks like Pittsburgh had a good second inning, but pretty much the same thing. They wound up losing the series by 1 goal. And Chicago and Detroit have kicked off their semifinal series. Detroit winning the first game 4-3. This is another 2-game total goals series. And Couture is healthy, or no, back from suspension rather. That's why he was out. So I will put him in. Oh, and Keats is back to 100% now, so let's put back the lines as they were at the start of the season. Yeah, that looks okay. And let's see if we can get past New York this year. Lost to them in the division finals last year. And not looking good. 3-1 loss in game 1. That was in New York, coming back to Montreal for... I'm going to put Clegorn in the lineup for this potentially last game of the season, just because he seems to do well when I don't expect him to. So let's see if we can pull that out now. We need to win by a couple of goals to tie, and well, it doesn't matter either way. 3-0 shutout. Clint Benedict, who's probably down to 1.5 stars, somehow wins another cup for the Americans as they beat us, and then they sweep Detroit in a best-of-3 for the finals. So the New York Americans, who never won the Stanley Cup in real life, now have 2 consecutive ones, and we've got 2 playoff exits before the finals, which is not great for us because we're supposed to be one of, if not the best teams in the league. Let's get us around to the end of the season. Okay, Murray was the goalie I got as a throw-in from Pittsburgh in that Leduc trade, so not going to bother re-signing him. He's only half a star. Elmer Piper, good name. How did we get that guy? Oh, we picked him way back a few years ago and just never had a use for him, so I'm not going to worry about that. And okay, I'm going to let Clegorn walk as a... what does he want? 800 fun. I'm going to let him hit free agency, and if he doesn't retire, I will maybe give him a contract just on the off chance that we might need him as a number 6 guy. And Harmony is fine, I assume. Yep, everything is, again, still staying great with the off-ice stuff. Oh, the awards ceremony. We've got a few awards to give out now. Not quite as many as we do in 2024, but they've finally started adding a few to the league. Frank Boucher, the Americans, gets the Hart as the MVP. King Clancy, playoff MVP, and our Roy Waters gets the Vezina as the best goalie for all the good it did us. What did Waters... Yeah, 1.37 goals against average, 13 shutouts. So, cheating a little bit by playing in a very low-scoring era, but good season for him. staff member to re-sign, as well as our own contract getting extended. That's good. 45 season points, but we've already maxed everything out. We're going to work on this next year, so it's not quite so easy to hit maximum points and not have anything to spend them on. But okay, let's do the season changeover. Let's see if Cleghorn retires. If not, maybe we'll bring him back. And owner wants a championship this year. One of our scouts retired. Playoff format's changing this year, but other than that, not any news league-wide. It's in this little stable period. And did Cleghorn retire? No, he's there as a free agent. Oh no, he did retire. He did retire. So didn't get a contract, and that matches his real life final season. So real NHL totals: 143 points in 262 games. In the game, 141 points in 270. So that's almost dead on. And a pretty great career for us. In fact, I'm almost a little surprised we didn't get the number retirement for him. But we are down one defenseman then. Corbeau will be the... I guess it'll be between Corbeau and Buswell unless I can get somebody in the draft, which might not be a bad idea. Be drafting a little bit higher than we normally do, but still not very high. Quick look if there's any free agents around. I doubt it. Ernie Parks, decent player, but doesn't really fit in. Watson, no, nobody that jumps out at me. And let's see what we got in the rookie draft. Best player available, Davey Kerr, goalie, Ranger goalie in real life. Ott Heller, I think he's from Ontario. Yeah, never played for Montreal. No, it's with the Rangers the whole time, so doesn't really fit with us. We're not going to get much looking at this. So let's just see how it goes. Heller goes to the Bruins. Tom Anderson had one great year, and then not a lot other than that in real life. You can see that's it. Well, I actually had a couple of decent seasons looking at it now, but 41 points in 48 games in his last season, and went away to the war and never played again. Lauren Carr, third pick to Ottawa, and nobody's taken the goalie yet. Maroons take Glenn Bridson. Finally, Pirates, who got Chabot from us, can't leave Davey Kerr drop any further. Where are we in this order? Ninth, so Detroit and Ottawa still have to go. Detroit takes one of the other goalies, and there goes all the goalies. So I guess I can forget about drafting a backup this round. So now I have to go through here quickly and just see if there's anybody that... Okay, Paul Haynes from Montreal. And we're St. Jerome, Al LeMay. Don't think either in Lee LeMay never even made the NHL. And actually, yeah, Haynes had a longer career than I remember. Yeah, he was actually decent for Montreal in the 30s, so we will take him. And hopefully he pans out. And second round pick, LeMay is there, who I just mentioned, so grab him since we can. We got any goalies? Okay, Europeans. One guy who played a single game for the Pirates, Ron Geddes. from Ottawa. I am gonna, I think, take him. Ottawa is right on the border, so almost qualifies as Quebec. And I really do need that extra goalie. And the last one, a few one-star guys left. Anybody obvious that? Bob Wilson from Quebec? Yeah, from Quebec City. Okay, good. I need a defenseman. That'll be him. And that's it for the draft. Advance a day. And what do the depth charts look like? Okay, Wilson goes right to the bottom. Gonna have to sign Geddes, just so I've got a third goalie to use. And I'll call up a couple of these guys to have a look at them during that preseason. Lamb, who played a little bit for us. Linko, who's Montreal Maroon in real life, seems to be coming along nicely. Get Haynes signed. And Roche is 1.5 star potential, something. And the contract limit has gone up quite a bit higher than it was in the early years, so I'm still way below that, 27 out of 50, so I can sign a few more of these guys and get them in the system, see if they develop. Art Alexander. Might as well take Wilson too. Allen's not going anywhere. LeMay, he's 1.5 star potential. And what the heck, might as well throw Piper a contract too. And a few contract signings, just give them some numbers temporarily. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. And getting the last of those guys re-signed. Signed or re-signed, I guess. There's a backup goalie. Oh yeah, we still got Boucher in the trading block. Nick Wozni. Winnipeg, decent player from Montreal in real life. And Boucher isn't getting any younger. I'm going to do that. And what was one? Oh, I guess that other trade is also for Boucher. So Billy Boucher gone. Hopefully his brother doesn't seem too upset by that. And yeah, looks like Corbeau will stick it out for another season as our 4th defenseman. Nobody immediately going to challenge for a starting job, I don't think. Actually, it looks like the lineup's going to be very similar to what we went with last year. So unless there's some surprises in training camp, I don't think we're going to change that around very much at all. And yeah, I think that's about it. I'm going to take a quick look to see what the other teams are looking like after the off season. Bruins pretty much about the same, haven't really progressed. Chicago, yeah, Detroit still got the goaltending problems and a little thin. Don't really like the man of the Maroons getting Hainsworth. He had a few years of them. At this point, he made it up to 36, 37. Played till he was 41. Really remarkable for a goalie in that era. And Joe Primo keeps coming along. It looks like he lost the season before the last one to injury, but then bounced back nicely. Maroon's getting better. And amazing, Benedict. Oh, did they actually? They must have played him while he was injured. So he played all 44 games last season and still puts up 1.55 goals against average. As a 1.5-star guy at the age of 35. Well, I hope they stay with him, because if they get a decent goalie, they're going to be unbeatable. And Rangers not really getting any better, or Ottawa about what they were. Pittsburgh, the Pirates have changed their logo up for the upcoming season. Oh, and Chabot started to decline. He's down to 3 stars. So it looks like we got rid of him just in time. And the Leafs, good on paper, but we know how that goes. Okay, so after that little review, and I'm getting a little bit worried about our depth. It's not quite a huge problem yet. But as for that, I think we'll... Now, Adam, what trade pros were you asking about? I just noticed in chat. I think the one that got closed, I think you mean it was the one that got closed that I never did get a look at, because I accepted the other trade. Wozny's a Winnipeg guy. You should be happy with that. Okay, so I think I will wrap it up here. If you haven't seen yet, if you don't have the game, FHM 10 is on sale currently from Steam Summer Sale for another week or so. I think it's a 2-week sale for 75% off. So if you haven't got it yet, great time to pick it up. If you want to find out a little bit more about the game, you can see our forums at ootdevelopments.com or the Reddit at FHM. Wait. Now I got to think about this. See, Adam normally does this. That's why it's throwing me off. Our franchise hockey is our subreddit. We're on there as well. So if you want to talk to us there, Facebook, on our forums, we're on all of those. Although I haven't been on our forums in a couple of days, so I will take care of that later tonight. As I imagine we've got a few questions after people coming in with the sale. I've just been a couple of away myself for a day or so, and plus the Canada Day long weekend. So I hope everybody had a good weekend. Happy 4th of July to the Americans tomorrow. And other than that, I think I will leave off there. Hopefully Adam is recovered enough from... See, I'm not supposed to talk about the Brazilian butt lift surgery he has, because he told me not to, but so I didn't mention that. But he'll be recovered from that next week, and we will be back with his Pittsburgh Penguins game. Boiled egg, nice to hear that you're doing okay with that. And thanks for coming up the stream. Thanks for everybody else. And we will hopefully see you all back here a week from now with Adam's stream. And then a couple of weeks after that, we'll be back with the Canadiens, seeing if we can finally knock off the Americans. Thanks for coming out, and we will see you next week.